Right, finally some beekeeping again. This is going to be a look at a small honeybee of India. It's called Apis cerana. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let's check it out. Right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at this hive because it's probably empty, and that's just a good way to see if I have some extra equipment for using on the other hives in case they have not enough room. You'll notice that this hive, all the hives are actually inside ponds, and this is to deter ants. So if you ever have problems with ants, this is a good way to do it. But you can also kind of have a tin, upside down metal tin, and put some Vaseline in the inside or some engine oil. That kind of keeps them at bay. But I don't think there's actually anything in this hive at all. So this is going to be some extra equipment that we can use. Let me just take a look. There definitely is nothing in there. Okay, I'll take you in for a closer look. Now, one thing I must mention is that this pond is not a good solution, because unless you want to put your feet in the pond, it's really in the damn way. Okay, I want to see if there's any foul brood, any kind of diseases, anything that I can see that's not so good. I mean, the comb, look at it. The size of it is tiny. That's just comb. Oh, there's definitely wax moth. Okay. Yeah, and you can see some kind of beetles that I don't know what they are. I've never seen them before. Some kind of critter. I don't think it's harmful. I mean, in the West you also see a lot of critters inside a abandoned hive, and it doesn't mean that it's necessarily something bad. But something is definitely eating away at this, and that's also very good. Geez, like 4 knocks in here. Trying to get in there. Try to be gentle. Hold on. Right. Now the thing I'm going to assess is, of course, I want to see if there's any queen cells. I want to see if there's any kind of swarming going on. I also want to make sure. Oh, they're tiny, these bees. I want to make sure that there's no disease present. I mean, the first thing I can see here is right away, they do have enough room. So somebody actually put a box underneath. I mean, a box on top with empty comb. That's our friends, the bees. They're starting to bump into my head. Obviously not being very happy about this. And the way the combs are arranged is not very well done. So let me just rearrange them a bit so that there's equal amount of spacing between the combs. So the queen is definitely in there. Yeah, I see eggs, which means that the queen just laid them this morning. I have to go looking for a queen. To be honest, I don't see any queen cells so far. Let's just stick that back inside. Awkward. Now what I'm doing is I'm just smoking down these bees gently. The ones that are sticking their heads out, they're the attacker bees. I'm doing the same also on the boxes over. Also no queen cell. We're going to have a monsoon soon. So what will happen then is, of course, there will be not so much gathering of nectar. I'm just smoking down a bit. And so therefore, any kind of honey now, okay, they're starting to sting me, or rather my suit. So anyway, so if there's no kind of gathering of nectar, we need to leave them with as much honey as possible, so we don't need to feed them any sugar. So I'm quite happy now that there's not going to be any queen cell in there. Generally speaking, there would be either on the next box up, so I'm going to check that now in a second. Or you would see it at least, I mean there's only 6 frames, 3 of them I've checked, so I would say if they had queen cells there would be at least 1 queen cell on them. And I don't want to disturb them too much. So now what I'm going to do is, let me just place that fella down there. A good place to check for queen cells, of course, is always going to be at the bottom of the frames. And the easiest way to do that is just by tilting the entire thing upwards. And that way you don't disturb any kind of bees. And there's a bit of smoke, they all run to the top, and right away you can see if there's any kind of queen cells. So there isn't any queen cells on this either. And this is basically the honey super. It's heavy-ish enough. Just stick that fella back on there now. So these are basically the honey supers. As you can see, they really don't match up whatsoever. No queen cells, honey in this one, no honey in that one. So actually what would be the best thing to do is put this one, swap this one with that one, and we will get them to actually fill up this space. So that's what I'm going to do now quickly on second thought. And then we get a nice bit of honey for the bees. So this is what I've arranged so far. I have a stone, I placed the ones on the stone and these ones onto the upside down roof. This is in the hive. Just going to swap the boxes around and then maybe check them again in about a month's time. And that's roughly about when also the monsoon starts. That's a very light box. Stick you on there. Right. Goes in there. And voila. And that basically is the tiniest bee I've ever seen. Amazing. It was good that I swapped the boxes around because they're more likely to draw it out when it's in between a fully drawn out box. It just works really well. Also, it's important to check now, of course, because in a month's time we're going to have the monsoon, and if we lose a swarm now, it would just be a waste of a swarm, and it's better if this colony stays together and is able to gather all the honey it can possibly get, because as far as I know, this small honeybee doesn't gather as much honey as it could do. So this is just in a way I know it's arrogant, but in a way we are helping nature be the best it can be.